Hello, all my sweet ladies. You're welcome back to my channel. My name is Yinka. In today's class, we're going to be making this high-low blouse, and here are the measurements I'm going to be using for the tutorial. So let's get started. At first, I'll be folding my fabric into two such that the center front is open, and then after that, I'm going to be rolling my guideline. That is where all my vertical measurement is going to start from. Then after that, I'm going to be measuring ½ inch in front like this, and then I'm going to roll it straight down because the center front is having joining. I don't know why though, but the center front for this style is having joining. You can see from the picture it's having joining in front. All right, so the next thing I'll do is to measure down the length of my armhole and then my waist length with ½ inch seam allowance. Then I'm going to be pinning down my fabric because I'm working with chiffon and it moves a whole lot. So I pin it down so that everything can remain intact. Then after that, I extend all my lines this way. This is my shoulder line, my armhole line, and then my waist length, and then the ½ inch in front, and my measurements will start from there. So on the guideline, I'll measure my shoulder divided by 2, and then I'll measure that same measurement on the chest line and then roll it into a straight line this way. Then after that, I'll measure 3 inches starting from the center front like this, and then from the shoulder I'll come down by 1, and then I'll connect this point together so that I can get my shoulder slant. Then after that, I'll add ½ inch to the line for the shoulder seam allowance. So I'll go to the armhole line, which is also my chest line. I'm going to input my bust measurements divided by 4 plus ½ inch ease, and then 1 inch seam allowance. And then on the waistline, I'm going to input the waist measurements divided by 4 plus ½ inch ease, and then 1 inch seam allowance. Then I'm going to connect these points together this way. Then because I'm working with the front part of the bodice first, I'm going to be locating the midpoint this way, and then I'll come in by ½ inch. Then I'll connect it like this and then get my front armhole cuff. So the next thing now is to measure the neck width and the neck depth. For the neck width, I use 4 inches. I use 4 inches for the neck width. And for the neck depth, I use 8½ inches. If you don't want it to be too low, you can bring it a little higher. But if you really want it to be like that one in the picture, you need to go down from your chest line by like 1 inch. But I'm just using 8½ for the depth. Depends on what you want. So I'm going to connect these 2 points together with my cuff this way. We are doing a V neckline. If you like, you can cut the center front on fold so that it will not have joining in front, because I didn't really see the essence of the joining in front. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to cut it out. Alright, so the next thing now is to notch the center front so that you can know where to join. So we're done with the front. We are going to be moving on to the back. So for the back, I folded my fabric into 2 such that the center back is going to be on fold. Then after that, I roll my guideline. Then the next thing is to measure your armhole length and then your waist length with your seam allowance. Then you extend the lines. Then starting from the folded edge, you measure your shoulder measurements. divided by 2. Then you put the same measurement on the armhole line so that your armhole line can be straight. Then after that, you measure the 3 inches neck width so that you can get the shoulder slant, and on the shoulder you come down by 1 and then you connect the two together. Then you add your seam allowance of ½ inch. Then after that, you finish off the armhole by placing your French cuff this way, touching the armhole line and also your chest line. You get your armhole cuff. After that, you are going to be inputting your measurement. So on the chest line, you put your bust measurement divided by 4 plus ½ inch ease and 1 inch seam allowance. On the waistline, you input your waist measurements divided by 4 plus ½ inch ease and then 1 inch seam allowance. Note we don't have that on this pattern. There's no that. Then after that, you connect the points together. Then for the neck width, we use 4 in front, so you're going to be measuring that same 4 at the back so that the neck width can be equal for both the front and the back. But for the neck depth, I use 1.5 for the back. I use 1.5 for the back. Anytime you have a very deep neckline in front, it's advisable for the back to be higher so that the neckline is not going to be wide. Alright, I added my shoulder seam allowance to the shoulder. Then after that, I cut out the pattern. Alright, so this is the back. The back is cut on fold. And this is the front. We have 2 pieces for the front because the front is not cut on fold. So the center front is open, so that's why it's into 2 pieces. Alright, the next thing is to cut out your sleeve. I've made a tutorial on how you can cut sleeve. I'm going to leave the link in the description box. Alright, so I'm done cutting my sleeve and then I notch the center of my sleeve this way. So the next thing you want to do now is to cut out the belt. So for the belt, I cut out a strip of fabric that measured 4.5 inches in width. It's 4.5 inches, and the length is going to be twice your waist circumference measurement, at least twice your waist circumference measurement. You can make it longer if you want. All right, so the next thing to be cutting out now is the flare. Yes, the peplum. So for you to know the amount of fabric required, you need your front length plus twice your radius, then plus the back length. So for the front blouse length, the blouse length is 27, so I'm just going to take that as the front blouse length. So 27 minus waist length of 17 will give me 10 inches. Don't forget to add 1.5 to the 10 inches for the seam allowance. Then for the radius, your radius is your waist circumference measurement plus 2 inches. Then you divide the answer by 6.28. In my own case, 32 plus 2 will give me 34, divided by 6.28 will give me 5.7, and we need that 5.7 twice. All right, so 5.7 plus 5.7 will give me 11.4, but I'm just going to say 11. All right, for the back blouse length, assuming we are making the back to be 58 inches, 58 inches minus 17 waist length will give me 41. So that is all you need. So if you sum the total measurements together, it's going to give me 62 inches. So what you're going to be doing next is to cut a piece of fabric that measured 62 inches in length and also 62 inches in width. So it's just like a square that measures 62 inches on all the sides. But for this tutorial, I didn't use all of that since chiffon fabric comes in length 60. So I just cut out a square fabric that measured 60 inches in length and then 60 inches in width. So all the 4 sides of this fabric is 60 inches. So it's a square fabric that is 60 inches on all the sides because I don't want it to have joining. So I cut out 60 inches on all the sides. All right, so the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to fold it into two, just the normal way you used to fold your peplum. I folded it into two. After that, I fold it into four. I fold it into four like this. So after folding it into four, I arrange it very well. If you need to pin it down, please feel free to do that, because if you're working with chiffon or satin, they move a lot, so you may want to pin it before you continue. All right, so it's folded into four now, such that this part here is unfold and this part here too is unfold, and the other sides are open. All right, so the next thing you want to do, since the fabric is by 60, after folding it this way, it's going to be 30 inches by 30 inches now on all the sides. After folding it this way, you're going to have 30 inches on all the sides. So what you're going to do is, starting from this point here, you're going to rotate the 30 inches all around, and then you shock as you rotate. So I'm going to be doing that now. So you rotate your 30 inches, continue to rotate your 30 inches all around. So when you're done rotating it, you connect it together. You just use your shock to connect your points together. Then after that, we are going to be cutting it out. All right, so I'm done cutting it out. The next thing you want to do is to notch this part. You need to notch it. All right, so after notching, from that point where you notched, you are going to be opening it up this way. You open it up this way. You have to be careful. Let it not scatter. Let it be unfold the way it is, but just open it up and be gentle with it so that it will not scatter. So after opening it up like this, you may need to like pin it, because I actually pin this. So I'm done pinning, and if you notice, this part here is still unfold. This part here is unfold, while the other sides are open. This side is open. So the next thing you want to do now is to start inputting our measurement. So starting from this end here, you're going to measure your front length of the remaining part of the blouse. So the front length is 10 inches, but because of folding, I made it to be 11.5. Remember, the total length in front is 27 minus the waist length of 17. The remainder is 10. Then I added 1.5 allowance, that is 11.5. So I measured 11.5. Then after that, I measured my radius. My radius is 5.7 minus half inch allowance, that is 5.2. So I measure 5.2, and then I make a point like this. So at this point, I now rotate my radius. My radius is 5.2, so I rotate the 5.2 all around like this, shocking as I rotate. So just continue to rotate the radius. And your radius is your waist circumference measurements plus 2 divided by 6.28. Mine is 32 plus 2, that's 34, divided by 6.28 give me 5.7, minus half inch seam allowance, that is 5.2. So I'm rotating the 5.2 now. So when you're done rotating, you connect the points together. You can see the way I'm doing this, like I'm working with egg. It's because the material moves. It's just checking and checking. Alright, so a quick recap. So at first, at this point, you measured the remaining length of the front of the blouse. Mine is 10 plus 1.5 seam allowance, that is 11.5. I measured it. Then after that, I measured the radius from that point. Then after that, I rotate the radius all around this way. Alright. So the remaining length at this other side now is the remaining length of the back of the blouse. Is the length of the blouse. So the next thing is just to cut it out. So just cut out on your shocked radius. So after cutting it out, it looks like this. Then you need to notch this part. That's the center back, and then you notch this part. That's the center front. All right. So if you open it up, it's like this. So if you open it up, the circle is like this. So this is the center front, and then this is the center back. All right, so we are going to be sewing our blouse now, and then this is the back part of the upper bodice. So you place the front on top of it, and then you join the shoulders together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then you place the second side of the front again, and then you join the shoulder together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So after joining the shoulders together, the next thing you want to do is to finish the neckline with a bias. So you're going to be sewing the bias on the right side of the neckline all around. You start from one opening in front, and then you sew the bias all around till you get to the second opening in front. If you remember, the center front is open. Then after that, you turn the bias to the wrong side, and then you top stitch it on the wrong side of the dress. Then after that, you're going to be joining the center fronts together. So place the center front on top of each other, right side to right side, and then you join together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you remember, we added 1/2 inch to the center front. So you just join on the 1/2 inch that you left in front. So after joining, it looks like this. The next thing you want to do is to work on the sleeve. First, I hem the bottom part of the sleeve, and then after that, I join the sleeve to the bodice. So you just place the right side of the sleeve on top of the right side of the dress, and then you align the notching on the center of the sleeve to the shoulder of the dress, and then you join to the right, then you turn and then join to the left. All right, so I'm done attaching the sleeve to the upper bodice. The next thing you want to do now is to close the side. Remember, we added just 1 inch for seam allowance, so you're going to close the side with 1 inch seam allowance. So I'm done closing the side of the upper bodice. The next thing now is to attach the peplum. So this is how it's looking. The next thing you want to do is just to grab your peplum, and then you attach it to the upper bodice. Alright, so this is my peplum. If you remember, we put notching on the center front, and also we put notching at the center back. So what you need to do is to align the notching on the center front with your center front of the upper bodice, and then you do the same thing. You attach the notching on the center front of the peplum to the center back, and then you pin it all around, after which you are going to join together with half-inch seam allowance. Make sure you pin it properly. If you do your calculations right, your peplum will match with the upper bodice without any excess or shortage. But in case you have excess, you can pleat it. But if you do your calculations right, I bet everything will align properly. No excess and then no shortage. Alright, so I'm done attaching the peplum to the upper part of the blouse, and this is how it's looking. So the next thing you want to do is to hem your peplum. But in the picture, they didn't really hem it. They just weave the down part. You may want to do that as well. You may consider doing that as well. Alright, but for me, I'm just going to be hemming it. So first I'll fold once, then fold over again, and then run my stitch all around the peplum. Alright, so I'm done hemming my peplum, and this is how my blouse is looking. The next thing I'm going to do now is to sew my belt. So I'm just going to fold my belt into two, and then I'm going to sew it all around. Then after that, I'll push it to the right side, and then I'll close the mouth. And that's it. Our top is ready, and this is how my beautiful top is looking. I love it. I love it so much. And that's the end of the class. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please kindly subscribe and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up so that I will know that you enjoyed the tutorial. And also leave a comment for me in the comment section so that I can interact with you. I love you all, and thanks for all your support. Like somebody even said in the previous post that she's going to be watching all the ads just to support the channel. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much for that. Thanks everyone. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye.